What's up everybody, Coach John here, back again with another video helping you lose all the weight you want to lose and hopefully do so easily. Today's topic, measuring your progress. This is a very important topic, not just because measuring your progress is important, it is. Measuring your progress is vital because it's going to dictate exactly when you make interventions in your diet, you make changes, you tweak things, and it's also going to give you an idea of what sorts of tweaks to make and how much to make them. Now, the title of this video is, do body fat scales work? Are they accurate at talking about body fat? We're going to get into that just a little bit later, but first I just want to impress upon you the importance of treating the scale as a data source, right? It is not a source of judgment or subjective meaning, right? You can pick up the scale and beat yourself in the face with it. It doesn't mean that the scale is harmful. A lot of people believe that the scale is evil and that relying on the scale or weighing yourself is in itself a form of self-harm. That could not be further from the truth. Nobody checks their bank balance and somebody would scream at them and say, oh, checking your bank balance is harmful. That's not the way to deal with your personal finances. You got to just focus on healthy habits. And then it's like, no, any responsible person knows to check in with their bank balance. We would never scream at somebody for doing that. Yet I see all the time on social media that if you post anything about how to use the scale effectively, people freak out. The scale is not the problem. The problem, once again, is that we relate to ourselves in awful ways, where we'll take data and let our brains run wild with it and make delusional interpretations and then assign meaning to our inherent worth and the outcome of our future, our destiny, to where we get on the scale, it says blup, 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 and all of a sudden our day goes from the birds are chirping, we're up, we're alive, breathing air, and then we see a number, and then our brains do things with that number and do things with those assumptions and judgments and fears and anxieties. It draws on childhood trauma. It draws on our insecurities, our deepest anxieties to develop this story. And it's not developing a story, it's just rehashing a very old story that you've been carrying with you for years and years. So for that reason, if the scale is a huge trigger for you, I encourage you to work through the trigger. You don't have to get on the scale. If it's really harmful for you right now and you need space from the scale, by all means, do that. But imagine for a moment if you were able to erase all the inner turmoil that comes along with the scale. If you're able to just treat numbers as data and not jump on it with all your reflexive meaning making, what could that do for you? Well, no one data point is all that useful. And this is one of the things that anti-scale people harp on, that you should only weigh yourself once a month. Because if you weigh yourself every day, you're going to see fluctuations. And if you just weigh yourself once a month, you're going to get more accurate data. First of all, that's not how data works. You don't get more accurate data by taking less data. You get more accurate data by taking data every day consistently. And the averages will speak to the true trends of where your weight is going. Looking at the trend and not any one finite data point really allows you to step back and let the process play out. It encourages patience, it demands it. And as someone who has had a long habit of freaking out over the scale, I can tell you, incorporating this really diffuses a lot of the BS around the scale, simply because any one day on the scale doesn't matter anywhere nearly as much as the overall trend. And the overall trend can continue in the direction you're hoping to make it go, despite the weird water weight fluctuations here or there. The truth will play itself out. And conversely, it's nice to see, okay, it's not just in my head. My weight really hasn't been moving very much for the last 2 weeks on average. So I know I'm totally justified now in pulling out one of my cards out of my hand that I've been saving to increase the stimulus I'm putting on my body to encourage the results I'm looking for. So the scale is our friend. Having this data is our friend. Does that mean we're totally beholden to it? Does that mean that if you look on the scale and your average weight hasn't moved, but your measurements or how you feel or your clothes are fitting different, that doesn't mean anything? Absolutely not. We take all of these things, all of them together. Take pictures, take measurements. I suggest if you're going to take measurements, take them in 4 or 5 places on your body. Make it standard. Get your chest, get your navel, maybe get the widest point of your stomach. It might be lower around your butt, maybe one of your legs, your thighs, maybe an arm. With a simple spreadsheet, you can log your weights and then have the next column averaging the previous 7 days and just keep a rolling 7-day average. And all the normal rules apply. Weigh yourself first thing in the morning after you go to the bathroom, before you drink or eat anything, just for the sake of consistency. Same if you're gonna take your measurements or take photos, right? Be consistent about these things. So now let's get into the topic of, are body fat scales accurate? You know, scales that you get on, it says, okay, you weigh X number of pounds and this is your body fat percentage. So if it says 20%, then that means that 20% of your weight is adipose tissue. Are these accurate? The answer is no, never. Body weight scales use a cheap version of not that good of a technology to begin with. They are wildly inaccurate, sometimes very good scales as far as giving you your weight very accurately and being sensitive to changes. Very good scales at doing that can give you the most ridiculous body fat percentage readings. You know, even those Omron handheld bioelectrical impedance scanner things are not very accurate. Even the InBody, which is like the top of the line bioelectrical impedance diagnostic, is not nearly as good as hydrostatic testing, BOD-POD, or DEXA scan, which is usually the gold standard, since hydrostatic testing is, you know, very hard to come by, but everyone can go find a DEXA scan near them. Do you need to get a DEXA scan? I don't think so. I got my first DEXA scan when I was 28. I had lost a lot of weight, the weight that I would eventually rebound from and gain 200 pounds. I didn't really know what my goal weight really ought to be, so I wanted to get an idea of what my lean mass was. It was a little bit lower than I expected, and that was useful information to have. About 9 months ago, which was about 9 months after I finished my 200-pound weight loss, I went and got another DEXA scan to kind of see where I was at. It was surprisingly good. Had more lean mass than I thought. And I'll probably go and get another one around the same time this year. But that is not necessary. You can do so much with the scale. It's such a useful tool if we use it properly. So no, body fat scales are not accurate at measuring body fat. Don't rely on a scale for anything other than your weight and tracking those changes in weight over time. If you don't know exactly what your goal weight is, but you're like, hey, I can lose 10 more pounds, lose the 10 pounds, see how you feel, see how you look. These things have a way of figuring themselves out. You really don't need to know your body fat percentage. All you really want is to feel better, perform better, be able to move around. If you're severely overweight, no, you want to be able to get into your car, to be able to fit into a seat on an airplane, you know, just basic stuff. This is why I understand why people say, oh, don't get on the scale because you're more than a number. I agree with that. I think that they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, but I really agree that instead of thinking numerically about the things that you're doing, connecting with that greater sense of purpose, that deeper sense of purpose. You know, your heart doesn't speak numbers. Your heart doesn't know what 250 pounds is. Your heart knows what it is to run and jump and go skiing with your family and go on a long road trip and feel comfortable in the vehicle. Whatever is important to you that you're not currently able to do, to resume a martial art. These things are beacons that will light your way. And you're not really walking a line between the weight you're at now and the weight you're trying to get to. You're truly, at your core, walking a line between your heart's desires and seeing those desires fulfilled. It just so happens that the scale is going to be a useful tool in helping us along that path, just on the technical side. So I hope this answers the basic question of, are body fat scales reliable? No. Is the scale evil? No. If you have a very difficult relationship with the scale, know that you can improve that relationship by taking data every single day consistently and sitting back and noticing when you're going to reflexively projecting onto the data. And watch. This is very important because whether you get on the scale or not, you're going to do this to yourself, right? Because it's not the scale, it's the way your brain works. Just start to notice these things. Notice the meanings, the catastrophizing, the interpretations of events around you. Because I guarantee you, you're not just doing this to the scale. Things happen around you and your brain is going, oh my gosh, that means this. No, it doesn't. Things are just happening. And when you can just accept that things are happening around you, and they really have no inherent meaning but the meaning we project onto them, you will find your peace levels just, your ability to just be. And the amount of work you're going to be forced to do in life is going to drop tremendously. The amount of energy we burn on a daily basis trying to fight the things that are happening around us. You know, I mean, we do it down to, oh my gosh, it's raining today. Oh, and we fight the fact that it's raining. Oh, it's terrible. We project judgments on the weather, which we have no control over. So of course, doing this with something as paltry as the scale does not benefit us. It doesn't help change the scale. What's going to change the scale is actually connecting with your deepest desires. You don't need the scale to tell you to desire a better life, a fuller life. This is why if we get out of our own way, weight loss is easy. The weight wants to come off. The weight will fall off because we are made to move. We are made to crave good food, nutrient-dense foods. And it's a process. But if we keep listening to the still small voice on the inside that's guiding us down the right path in our health and so many other areas of life, and we don't jump in its way with all our reflexive survival mechanism, survival-based thinking, we can allow these things to happen. We can allow changes. So I hope this was useful information to carry forward on your journey, and I hope this is also inspiration. You can use data to your benefit, and you can allow your passions, your zest for life to propel you forward. And in so doing, let easy things be easy. If you're looking for no-cost support, you can go to the Facebook group at Lose Weight with John. You can email me for one-on-one coaching at johnoakescoaching@gmail.com. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below if you have any questions. Let me know if this video was impactful for you. Please feel free to share it with a friend. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.